I got fired from a farm store that I shop at, by user_row_9101. Edit. Wow, the Reddit mobile app really butchered my post, so I cleaned it up so it's easier to read. I still have no idea why autocorrect insists that humiliated is not a valid word. I used to work at a West Coast division store of Kroger. My family has several pets and farm animals. So I routinely shop a local farm store. Most of the time I did this after my shift ended, which means I am in my work uniform, black slacks, either a dark red polo shirt or a button-up gray shirt that have the store logos embroidered on them. The farm store personnel wear jeans, t-shirts, and gold-colored vest with the farm store logo. I was in the farm store looking at some electric fence supplies. This woman kept pestering me and asking questions about some jeans she wanted to try on from the other side of the store. I politely pointed in the general direction of the clothing section. She stomped off. Couple minutes later, same woman is demanding I unlock the changing room for her. I'm rather irritated with her over-aggressive Karen attitude, and snapped no. Now go away and leave me alone. Again she stomps off. I picked up a few items and started towards the checkout when I get ambushed by the same woman who now has the store manager in tow. She is demanding I apologize to her. The manager just shakes his head, then asks, "Would you like to apologize to this customer?" "What for?" She's rude, obnoxious, and irritating as hell. "No, I don't want to apologize." She screams, "I've never been so humiliated in all my life. You need to fire him now." The manager is still shaking his head in disbelief when he says, "Well ma'am, I am not able to do that." "And just why the hell not?" she demanded. The store manager is just standing there staring at her. I reply, obvious she isn't smart enough to figure out I don't work here. So save us both some time and fire me, then maybe she will shut up and go away. "You're fired," the manager barked, drawing even more attention from other customer in the store. I lean in closer to woman and, "Are you happy now, ma'am? That's the third time he's fired me this week. Have a nice day. Thanks for shopping Smith's Food and Drug," and I walked away as everyone listening starts laughing. The manager hollers at me as I am walking towards the registers, "See you tomorrow." "Yeah, I have to get hay and alfalfa." The woman threw down the jeans she was holding and ran out the doors. "I'm not a taxi driver, I'm delivering papers, by user give me Una. This won't be a big story but will require me to preamble a little to give some background and to clarify for any potential questions, etc. This is in the UK during the 90s. It's an average-sized town. For decades you would find only 2 or 3 corner shops that provides paper delivery services. This means that people from all corners of the town would come to those few shops to have their papers delivered. This in turn results in paperboys/girls delivering to homes far apart from each other. The stores would try to minimize travel by trying to put those homes as close to each other in a single route, but it wasn't easy. Then there was another problem. The papers themselves. We have papers like the Daily Mail and Telegraph. When the week starts, these papers are thin and manageable, but by the time the weekend arrives, they're so thick that you need to split them into 6 parts to fit them through mailboxes piecemeal. Because of the travel distances and the thick papers, half the paper routes were done by car. The shops would pay well for these inconveniences. Not to mention that quite a few of the homes would leave tips for those delivering their papers. Especially Christmas tips. So on to what happened. Back in the 90s, before I was old enough to drive, one of my parents would drive me round on my paper routes. Well, I actually biked it for the first half of the week with only 2 trips back to the shop for more papers. My parents would drive me round on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because there was no way of fitting more than 12 deliveries into a single paper bag. Literally, I kid you not. The papers filled the back seats of the car, almost floor to ceiling in all 3 seats, and maybe even a pile in the boot, trunk. Well, this was a weekend morning and my dad had pulled up onto a street where I had to deliver to half a dozen houses. So I'd grab a paper or 2 and take them to the relevant homes before returning to the car for more. I was just reaching into the back seats and grabbed a couple of papers to deliver when someone walked up to me. "Excuse me, can you take me into town?" the guy slurred. He was clearly drunk. Maybe he had an all-night bender and I was delivering papers at like 6 a.m. "No can do. We're not a taxi. We're delivering papers," I replied as I closed the door. "Can you just take me into town?" he asked. "Sorry. We can't," I replied. "Hey. What's with all of the papers, man? I can't climb in with these here," I heard him say as I opened the gate to the first house. I turned and saw that he had opened the back door that I had just closed. "Go away," my dad yells at him. "I told you. We're not a taxi. We're delivering papers." I yelled at him and he closed the door. I turned around and posted the paper. By the time I got back to the gate, the guy was walking down the street. Not in a straight line, but still walking. After I'd delivered the rest of the papers for the street we drove off, we passed the guy a street away, still walking in a wavy line. Never saw him again. Not the first unusual thing to happen while delivering papers. I'll be posting something in the entitled People thread soon. And they don't stop Callan, by user Crazy. This isn't really my story, but more my dad's. It's still ongoing, by the way, 'cause this happens almost daily, keyword, almost. My dad used to run this paper route for our town paper. He worked the nights delivering the papers to his customers and he was really good at it. Unfortunately, our car had broken down and had to be repaired. Because of this, he didn't have a means to do his route, and he ended up losing his job. On one hand, it helps him out 'cause he'd be a tired wreck when he came home and would sleep most of the day, but now he's getting much better sleep. On the other hand, however, he has to deal with constant phone calls from his former customers telling him that their papers weren't delivered or that they weren't delivered properly. He'd have to explain to them that he no longer works the route, and they seem to get it. However, some of his former customers are elderly, and they call him time and time again to complain about the same thing. One time though, he had to deal with a customer that just wouldn't accept the fact that he didn't work the route anymore, and threatened to complain to his manager for his poor performance. I was with my dad as he was driving me to my job when that call was made. I could hear that customer screaming at my dad and threatening to get him fired. My dad just responded, "Okay, fine, go ahead and complain. My former manager will tell you the same damn thing I've been telling you for the past 10 minutes, and hung up. As previously stated, these calls have been going on for a while, and thankfully they all aren't as bad as that one was. Wholesome Supermarket Encounter, by user Tkofical. I work at a big optician, glasses, store. We are required to wear business casual styles, but we can choose our clothes, and a name tag with the store's logo. That day I was wearing black jeans and a grey button-up shirt. In my lunch break I went to a nearby store to grab food, and this chain's uniform consists of black pants with grey shirts with the logo in red on the chest. I was in the drink section looking for a Red Bull when an older man approached me from behind and asked where he could find a specific wine. I turned around and politely said, "Sorry sir, but I don't work here." He was confused for a second until he noticed my name tag with the optician logo and gave me a small chuckle. He then apologized and mentioned, "Maybe you don't work here, but I will definitely come to your store next week." He was really nice, and that encounter made my day, as he was the first customer that was nice to me that day. Mini Stories, by user Oblivion Captain. Hello, on mobile, you know. So I have a couple that are very minor interactions that they don't really need their own individual posts. Ever since IA27F have moved up to Oregon about 7 years ago now, have had weird encounters with people assuming I work somewhere else. I have only ever had 2 jobs, one working in a fast food chain that has a different name depending on if you are on the West Coast or the East. And even then that was only for a month. And 2 is a subsidiary of one of the most popular grocery chains in the States. During my first year of working the grocery store job, I had a woman come up to me and asked why I stopped working at the office. I just looked at her confused and said, "I've never worked in an office." She tells me, "Sure you do, someone else's name, mind you I had a name tag on, blank told me you left because of your baby." Me even more confused, "My name isn't that and I don't have a baby, my name is Oblivion Captain." The confused look on her face was priceless. And she just said "oh" and walked away. Another time was a gentleman came up to me and asked why he never saw me at Lush anymore. Me, not knowing this at the time that there were 2 types of Lush stores, one was a NSFW place and the other was the Bath Bomb place. I just told him that I never heard of that place before and he just insisted until I walked away. Another time I was in a popular discount clothing store. I was meeting my mother to do some shopping. I was wearing my uniform, which at the time was a blue t-shirt that said something along the lines of "Here at blank store the customer is always right," in big white letters on the back. I was browsing the clothes when a woman came up behind me and started clearing her throat. Me, oblivious to her because I wasn't working. Her, excuse me. My mom now looking irritated as I turned to look at this woman. Her, finally, "Where are your bathrooms?" Me, "I don't know, I don't work here." My mom angrily points to my shirt. She works at this store, name here, or can you not read? The woman just scoffs and walks away. The latest one, I was in a different grocery store, one that is similar to Dangerous Path, and I had my lanyard around my neck. It's just a Bob's Burgers one that holds a small card-looking thing that allows me to get in and out of work, and a graphic t-shirt. I was scanning my purchases at the self-check when a woman asked if I was done. I said yeah, I'm almost done ringing my stuff. Do you need this machine? Her, oh no, I just need help with clearing the screen. Me, oh sorry, I can't help with that, I don't work here. Her, oh I'm sorry, I thought you did. I told her it was fine, I get it a lot, and finished and left. They aren't big, dramatic stories, but I think they are funny encounters. I mean, I had someone tell me my mother wasn't my mother before too. Edit, since some people I'm sure will be curious, after we first got to Oregon my mom and I stopped at a Mickey D's for something quick to eat. Mind you, we had just entered town like 30 minutes prior. I look like my mom, an exact copy, the only differences are I have a round face, she has a heart-shaped face, and she has facial piercings. We walked out of our car and someone started calling to me. It was a family of 3 with a father, mother, and daughter. Father, blank blank. My mom and I exchanged a look at each other. Father, blank, why are you ignoring us? Me, pointing to myself, me. Mother, yes you, why are you acting like you don't know us? Me, because I don't. My name isn't blank. Father, yes it is blank. My mom chimes in, why are you harassing my daughter? Father, you're not her mother is some other name. My mom, what is wrong with you, you can clearly see she looks just like me. Father, I think you're wrong. My mom, without skipping a beat, well, tell that to my Gina after I gave birth to her. With that we walked away. I have no idea who they thought I was and why they would say I'm not my mother's daughter, because there is literally no way anyone can deny that I look like my mom.